Sunshines! So today's video is going to be another book tag. I was tagged by my friend Kristina to do a book tag of her own creation. This book tag is inspired by Disney Pixar's Inside Out. Can you guys sense a theme lately on my channel? I can't help it, it was just so awesome. So the basic premise of this tag is to choose a book that relates to each emotion. After much deliberation, I've done that and I'm going to share with you which books I've chosen. Okay, so first up, joy. This was really difficult for me and it was actually kind of a tie. The book that I actually chose because I have it in my possession, Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. I didn't really connect the dots for how appropriate this book was. The reason that I chose this for joy was because this book made me so extremely happy. Disney and Pixar have always been a part of my life and I could probably do a whole video just on how much Disney and Pixar have like shaped me and changed me and helped me grow up. But because of all of those reasons, this book really resonated with me. It's the story of Pixar's birth, and it's a story of determination and perseverance and dedication and wanting to create art and amazing stories together. And it was just so beautiful. I loved every second of it and it was just really special. So I was so extremely happy reading this book. I couldn't put it down and that's why I'm choosing it as joy. The second runner-up for the emotion joy was actually The Series of Unfortunate Events, and I know that might sound kind of counter-emotional, but I just have so many happy childhood memories reading The Series of Unfortunate Events. It was one of those series that I was reading as they came out, and I would finish them and then pass them on to my brother who would pass them on to my sister. Like sibling bonding experience that we all had over reading A Series of Unfortunate Events. I loved The Series of Unfortunate Events, and I'm just always happy when I think about them. For sadness, I chose the book The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and I know this might be sort of an obvious choice, but the reason that I chose this book is because I was trying to think really hard. The last book that I read that made me so sad, like moved me so deeply that I cried, and I've definitely shed tears in a few books since reading this one, but I cried. I cried a lot when I was reading The Fault in Our Stars, and it moved me on a really deep emotional level. Okay, so for disgust, I chose a book that I really hated a lot, and this book is, I don't know where it is on my shelf right now. I'm actually scouring and I can't see it, and it's one of those books that I wouldn't miss if I could see it. And that book is The Merciless by Danielle Vega. Now, the reason that this book I've chosen for disgust, I'm not a huge horror, like fear, scary book kind of person, but I read this book and there were definitely some parts where I was supremely disgusted. There was an extreme level of gore that was quite unnecessary, and while there was no plot, no character development, and Kristina and Jen and I could go on for a long time about how horrific and awful this book was, not necessarily in the gore sense, but in the actual structure and writing sense as well. It was quite gory and it was quite gruesome, and so that's why I'm choosing it as my book for disgust, because it really kind of disgusted me on a lot of levels. So now that we've established that I don't really read a whole lot of gory or horror type books, I will share with you a book series that caused me fear. And that book series is back again, this is sort of tapping into my religious background a little bit, that's a whole nother can of worms. But growing up, my mom read us the Left Behind series. The Left Behind series is sort of a cult favorite religious book series. It is one author's interpretation of the end times in the biblical sense, like Revelation in the Bible, the apocalypse, but the Christian, like, religious apocalypse, where the Christians of the world are raptured and people are left in a wake of destruction and despair and taking the mark of the beast, the 666, that whole thing, right? So I remember my mom reading these to us, and we weren't reading the kids versions, we were reading the adult versions, like kind of as they were coming out, and I just remember being so fearful, like so afraid. I was so fearful of this idea that I had nightmares forever. I couldn't sleep for a long time, and I mean, I wanted to know more. It was sort of a weird way that I wanted to read them. I wanted to know more, but I was completely afraid. So afraid. And I haven't read them again to this day. I probably never will, but that is the book series that stands out in my mind when people say, what books made you afraid? Those were the books that made me so incredibly afraid. And for anger, I chose a book that I know that Kristina and Jen can also relate to, and that is The Heir by Kiera Cass. The reason that I chose this book is because Adolin alone evokes such anger in my soul. She is a character that I just wanted to shake. I wanted to shake her so hard. I didn't like the way things happened in this book a lot. It made me angry the way that she treated people. It made me angry the way that the plot sort of wasn't there, and then when it was, it definitely didn't go in any sort of a way that I think most of us thought it should have. And I don't know, this book just made me pretty angry, and I read it and I was really, really hopeful that it was going to be something so incredible, but it definitely left me wanting. So yes. Alright, well that is my contribution to the Inside Out book tag that Kristina created. I'm going to go ahead and tag a few people that I know read and that I think would be awesome to see do this book tag as well. I'm going to tag my girlfriend Emily, of course, Jedi Juggler, and my sister Becca, who is in the process of changing her username, so I'm not sure what it is, but I will put it down below. I will also tag Elizabeth, Elizzy Books, and Reagan from Peruse Project. So hopefully you guys do this tag. Also, any of you who want to do this tag, feel free. This is your invitation. Do it. It's fun. It's a great tag. And like Kristina said, I'm really surprised that nobody else has done this tag already. But I'm really glad that she put it together and it just makes sense. So feel free to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! So I have a thing for Urban Decay, so we're going into a section of Urban Decay palettes now, but I have the Naked 2. So thank you so much for that. I am so inspired by all of you. I am